Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghost Raiders here. We got mail. Hey Santee, I would like a video that explores the origin of the first cowboys, the Vaqueros. Jack Belinsky, 2661. The Vaquero. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
My oldest friend, the Gran Vaquero of the Barres, Inocencio Antonio Ortega.
I've explored elements of this before on the channel. Now let's dive deeper.
Ready to dive.
Aye, sir. Diving station.
Our American cowboy had origins in the first Europeans to land on the continent. If you've heard the term buckaroo, that is a derivative of vaquero.
I'm a regular buckaroo.
Vaquero translates into English as simply cowboy.
I've got the general picture, but I'd appreciate it if you'd fill in the details for me.
By the 16th century, the Spanish were well established in the Americas. They brought in cattle, and ranches were emerging. The Spanish landowners in California, known as Californios, were often established horsemen and ended up training locals on their particular style of horsemanship. Mexicans and Native Americans were also learning from the Spanish missions, which too ran livestock. Interestingly, there was the law of the Indies, which forbade Spanish landowners to teach natives to ride horses for fear they would become fierce warriors. It was still practiced, and those tribal members became excellent horsemen. The vaquero style is advanced, and a well-trained equine will respond to just moving the reins or slight leg pressure. It could take years to achieve this, but what you end up with is a symphony of man and beast, which is an unparalleled workforce. I've witnessed this with Lee Anderson and his horse Concho.
My name is Lee Anderson. This is my partner, Concho.
Lee trained Concho with a Spanish spade bit, using the traditional techniques, and educated countless folks about the Spanish vaqueros. This culture was very prideful. Elegant and embroidered clothing and inlaid spurs were all the rage, and also very functional. In early California, being a top hand was a big deal in the community. The broad-brimmed sombrero keeps the sun and other elements off your face. Some were simply round crowns, where others were the sugarloaf style. That's a fun one, and it's named after the brown sugar cones made in Mexico called piloncillo. Of course, the bandana for 100 other things I've mentioned in previous videos. Vaqueros in Californias tied them or used thin rings to secure them. The trousers were split up the sides, complete with a button closure. This allowed for the taller boots. The famous vaquero jacket was another staple of their working wardrobe. The shorter jacket made sense on the back of a horse with less material to get in the way of roping. Their spurs were status symbols. The nicest ones were worn by the best vaqueros. It's important to note that in different territories we see the clothing changing to meet the needs of that region. For example, in the harsher brush areas of Texas and New Mexico, leather leggings would be used to protect their legs and clothing. This also affected some of their other equipment like riatas and saddles. The Anglo ranch hands emerged in the 1800s and worked alongside some of those vaquero descendants. Yeah, like 300 years after the Spanish were moving cattle in the New World. This combining of cultures created what we know today as the American cowboy. Hey folks, I'm here with Pico Pistolero. You might have seen him online. He works out at Calico, does all sorts of great things with history and reenacting, so glad he's here visiting.
You know, life in Calico wasn't easy. There were the hot summers, there were the cold winters, there was rain, there was wind, there were diseases like scarlet fever, dysentery, measles, tuberculosis.
That's the rumor.
Pico, I was interested. We're talking about vaqueros and ranchers and Californios and all that stuff, and California is obviously the place we're really focusing on this week. If anybody here in the audience wants to go visit a historic ranch, do you have one?
Yeah, there's actually a really interesting historic ranch in Rancho Cucamonga called the Raines House. It was bought by John Raines and his wife Maria Merced Williams in 1858. They built a house out of red brick that looks like an East Coast house in 1860, which is really rare for Southern California. They put in state-of-the-art plumbing, and they grew grapes and had a vineyard there. So it was a really big deal agriculturally for Southern California. And there's a murder mystery. In November 1862, John Raines takes his buggy to Los Angeles, and the horse and buggy came back, but John never did. They found his body, but the murder was never solved.
Oh, I was going to just say, maybe he's stuck in traffic still to this day.
It's possible. It's possible. I've been on the 405, and oof.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks
Good to
a lot.
see you, Santi.
Go
Thanks for
check out
having
his
me.
channel. All right. We'll put a link in the description field.
Pico out, and I'll be better dressed next time.
We see vaqueros in many Hollywood westerns. Robert Conrad sported the look in the series The Wild Wild West, but it seemed closer to home with The High Chaparral. Yeah, Manolito Montoya rocked that look in American Housewives Swoon.
Señorita.
Señorita.
Usted es.
Usted es.
Divina.
Divina,
¿Podría visitarla?
¿Podría visitarla?
Esta noche.
Esta
Mucho,
noche.
¿eh?
And are you sure that means you're a lovely señorita and I want to see you tonight, huh?
You have my solemn word.
Your solemn word.
For more info on the vaquero way of life, I've put some links in the description field down below. Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail. Okay, we're rolling. Quiet on the actual set.